Welcome to Rges Pre-Algebra. This is Lesson 14B. We'll be covering 4.23 and 4.24, subtracting signed numbers. Now, before we looked at adding signed numbers on a number line, and let's say we wanted to add 3 plus a negative 5. To go in the positive direction, we would be going this way, and to go in the negative direction, we would be going to the left, and we would start at the 3, and then we would add a negative 5. So we would go this way 5 places, and we would end up with a negative 2. Now, when we are doing subtracting, what we want to do is think of the subtracting operation as also going to the left. Addition is going to the right, and subtraction is going to the left. Positive values to the right and negative values to the left. So they're wanting you to think about it when you're using a number line, and I think this is perhaps helpful to us. It's not the primary way I would want you to think about it, but if we start at, there's 0, if we start at negative 12, and we are going to subtract a negative. Okay, so let me, I'm not quite sure if I like to, I'm thinking I'm going to be going in that direction, but because it's negative, I instead want to start at the number I was at originally and go that direction instead. So I'm going that direction, 6, and so I will end up with negative 6. I'm going to show you one more of these because I don't really want to emphasize this approach that much, but I think it's okay. Let's say if we have 10 minus a negative 4. And so we would go to our number line, we'd be at 0. We'd go up to positive 10, we'd begin there. We're thinking of going in this direction, but instead, because it's negative, we'll go in that direction. So if we go over 4 places to the right of 10, we'll end up with 14. Okay, so go ahead and do those 7 problems, and then we're going to jump you right over into doing it without a number line, and I actually think that the approach I'll teach you is generally the preferred method for students. Okay, here would be 4 subtraction problems. We have a subtraction as our operation in all 4 of these problems. The first 2 I begin with a positive number, and the next 2 I begin with a negative number. So how would I do these? I'm going to always change to subtract. This is going to be my fundamental rule. To subtract means to add the inverse, the additive inverse. The inverse, recall, of, let's see, the additive inverse of positive 3 is negative 3. The additive inverse of negative 7 is positive 7. It's just changing the sign. So if we use that, we're going to change our operation to addition. You already know how to do addition. This says 7 subtract 3. I'm going to do that, change that to 7 plus, and the additive inverse of 3 is negative 3. The next one, 7 subtract negative 4. I'm going to change that to 7 addition as my operation, and the opposite of negative 4 is positive 4. You don't need the operation or the parentheses. I'm just kind of putting those in there to help you see clearly what we're doing and where we're changing things. The next one, we're going to start with what we have, a negative 7. To subtract means to add the inverse. The inverse of 3 is negative 3. And finally, we start with what we have, but we're doing the subtraction operation. We're going to change that to an addition operation of the inverse. The inverse of negative 4 is positive 4. Okay, now you already know how to do all of these problems. Let's review them very quickly. In my mind, I think I'm adding 7, going back 3. I will have a 4. I'm adding 7, adding 4, I will have 11. I'm starting with a negative 7 way over here, but I'm adding a, okay, wait a minute here. Okay, let's go from 0. Okay, I go negative 7 and then negative 3. It would be negative 10. And finally, I would start from 0. I would go negative 4, positive 3. I'm sorry, read my numbers quickly. Sorry, negative 7, positive 4, and I would end up with negative 3. So hopefully those are very clear to you. That's what you've been doing all the way up till now, and I was so proud of this class. You seem to get down the addition of some numbers very quickly, and so again, this would be the way you would do it for subtraction. Change it to an addition problem, adding the inverse. Now, I would also like to you to notice that sometimes they are putting this in a vertical form, for instance, bit like this, but the idea is the same. I'm changing this subtraction problem to an addition problem. I'm changing the value to its inverse, positive 3 or 3. Okay, I think that you'll get plenty of practice. We'll do the sharpening skills to give you 10 more problems of practice on the same idea, and then just a few more things up for review. Go ahead and skip 11, 12, and 13. Just a reminder, those were the algebraic concepts we decided to put off to the further later in the book. Okay, that should be it. Have a great Thanksgiving vacation, and we will see you the first week of December.